having shown that this works really well in preclinical studies and having it vetted by a third party, highly credible journal, the next step is obviously we think we can do a lot of good with this therapy, and we want to show that it translates into humans.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is David Regan. He is the CEO of Sona Nanotech. And David, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm great, Steve. Good to see you too.
Yeah, so you've got some exciting news out from the company, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But maybe just remind everyone a little bit about the company itself, David.
Sure, Steve. So fundamentally, we're a life sciences company in the nanotechnology realm with a key technology to make gold nanorods, which is a particular type of nanoparticle that's highly useful for in vivo applications in patients.
Okay, so I mentioned that you have some significant news out is that your groundbreaking cancer therapy study has been published in Frontiers in Immunology, which is a medical magazine. So tell me a little bit about this study that you have and really getting into this magazine, which is pretty important.
Sure. So this technology we have, that's these gold nanorods, of which I speak, we use those in something called targeted hyperthermia therapy. They're highly useful in that we insert them into tumors and then we shoot a laser at them, which, by the way, the laser passes harmlessly through about 2 centimeters of tissue. When those laser light waves, non-thermal light energy, hit the gold nanorods, they start to vibrate and create heat. So in this way, we're creating heat in a tumor without any damage to the peripheral areas, no collateral damage. And we thereby destroy the tumor from the inside out. Now, what's exciting about this is we've been talking about it for months and months, but we've just been published in a peer-reviewed scientific journal. And that creates a great opportunity for us now to tell the world about it because we've got that peer review credibility of a top tier journal behind us. And this is just the first step.
For people not familiar with the sector that you're in, having it published is the key to all this, right? Because it's not you saying it's another group saying this is what they're doing, which is the key part of this, right?
Yeah, it's a key tenet to science, right? Any development has got to be vetted by credible third parties. And through this journal, Frontiers in Immunology, the process involved them naming three initially anonymous reviewers to look at it. And they're, of course, experts in the field. And they grilled us with about 30 different highly technical questions. And we had to respond to that before they would not to check off on it and say, yeah, this is really interesting and novel and worth publishing.
Yeah. When I was reading more about it, I really like the part where you talked about earlier about how it works with the cancer cells. But the other key part of this is that it also helps with toxicity, and I think that's an important part of this. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Sure, it's a critical consideration because whenever you're putting something in vivo into the body for a medical application, regulators are looking at what can the toxicity issues be? What do you need to do around that? Our core technology, our patented, uniquely biocompatible gold nanorods, don't contain toxins. There are others, in order to make them into a rod shape, need to use a toxin. Our patent is that we can do without that, and that is important when you're putting it into the body. Secondly, we also don't administer it in our therapy systemically. We administer it directly into the tumor. As a result, you don't have to put as much into the patient in that sense. And by the way, when we talk about toxicity, this is inert gold. We've been putting inert gold into fillings in humans for centuries, and frankly, into joints for arthritis and whatnot, other applications for decades too. So we're really, really optimistic about, especially given the results we've seen in the efficacy.
So, David, key milestone, obviously having this published. What's the next stages now?
Well, having shown that this works really well in preclinical studies and having it vetted by a third party, highly credible journal, the next step is obviously we think we can do a lot of good with this therapy, and we want to show that it translates into humans. So we are aiming to get into an early feasibility study with humans to show just exactly that. And what we'll be looking for is initially in melanoma, late stage melanoma candidates for whom nothing else has worked. They've tried it all. We want those people to enroll in our study because we believe we will be the difference maker. Our study showed very clearly that in the preclinical mouse models, granted, when you applied immunotherapy, there was no reaction or little result. But then when you applied our THT therapy and then put in immunotherapy again, we eliminated tumors. So clearly
Okay.
it's the THT that is the catalyst to make that happen. And we want to prove that out. We'll do that in those subjects that haven't responded to any other therapy and then move backwards from there.
And so that, lastly, will that be a design this year and to get into implementation in 2026? Or are you hoping to start that work this year as well?
We're aiming to prove that in an early feasibility study this year,
Okay.
and then move on to a larger study beyond that that would qualify to be able to submit to regulators both in Canada and the US and show what they need to see. In addition to just those, human feasibility studies, in order to be permitted to do that, we've got to show a ton of data around the safety, and that's something we've contracted with leading third-party labs and contractors in the US and Canada to be able to conduct those studies for us, and that'll be part of the mountain of data that we hand over to those regulators.
Well, very exciting times for sure, David. Thanks so much. Good update from you, and congratulations on this. And we look forward to continuing to follow the story as it develops. Okay.
Thanks, Steve. The best is yet to come.
Good stuff. David Regan, the CEO of Sona Nanotech.